Hi, I'm Brigham Larson with Brigham Larson Pianos. This piano here this was a fun project for me. I spent several days just straight through working on this piano, getting it into excellent condition. It's a 1936, so it's kind of getting up there in years, but I am really, really pleased with how it turned out. I would consider this, I have several levels of what I do to my pianos here in my store. From tuned and serviced all the way to rebuild, and this one I would consider more of a refurbish, kind of in the middle, not a full rebuild, but definitely not just tuned and serviced. Let's talk about some of the details, some of the things that I did to this piano. We'll look at the cosmetics of it, and then I'll play it. So, talking about the things that I did to this piano. Of course, a piano, any piano older than 10 years or so is going to be dirty, very dirty. I cleaned it very thoroughly. First thing I did is I took it all apart, took the lid off, took the action out, took everything apart, and cleaned it very, very thoroughly. And I'm really quite happy. Let's get some more light in there. I'm really quite happy with how it turned out. It's looking quite clean, especially if you saw it before. You know what I was talking about. And then a lot of these other things like this I do. I polished all of these just so that it looks nice. These screws, the hinges on the. Check out those hinges on the lid. Aren't those beautiful? Stuff like this. Polish all of this kind of stuff in here, right in there. Make all those nice, but of course all of those things are just cosmetic. Oh, while we're at it, while we're looking at the cosmetic stuff, check out the casters and the pedals. I did those as well. All 3 casters and the little brass trim pieces around the legs. Okay, those things are cosmetic. Those things I do just because I really want to, because I take pride in my work. I love what I do, and I like it to really sparkle. Oh, and then more cosmetics. These keys, by the way, they're real ivory, which is relatively uncommon to find a piano with ivory in as good condition as these are in. So these are all completely buffed. I also buffed the sharps as well, so they're really smooth, and it's hard to really tell in a video, but they look really nice. The action is the main mechanism in the piano that makes everything function. When you hit the key, it's the action that is at play there, throwing the hammer up to hit the string. So the action fully. Of course, start with cleaning that very thoroughly. Worked with the bushings, lubricated everything, tightened everything, aligned everything. I reshaped the hammer, so over time, again, any piano older than 10 years is going to have cuts in the hammers. Hammers really take a beating, and those cuts, they just get deeper and deeper, and pretty soon that hammer is flat. So rather than a nice rounded surface that's hitting the string, it's just a flat surface that's kind of slapping the string, and that really becomes noticeable in the tone. So I reshaped them, so now all of these hammers are back to the rounded shape, and let's see if you can. I need a screwdriver to take it apart to show you, to pull it out, but let's look at these. You see? Can you see those hammers in there? Rounded, and they're all aligned in 2 ways that they're aligned. One is they go straight up and down. A lot of times, particularly on older pianos, but really any piano, rather than going straight up and down to hit the strings straight on, they kind of go to one side or the other, and they just go in that direction, and it causes certain inefficiencies in the touch. And I made sure that I spent probably 2 or 3 hours on just this alone, what's called traveling hammers, so that all these hammers are just perfectly straight up and down, and really, really doing a nice, efficient job. And then the other way that I align them is align them left and right, so that when they come up, they hit right dead on how they're supposed to be hitting the string. Aligned other parts, aligned the whip-ins and that sort of thing. Of course, regulated it. Now, regulation is a very extensive process, having to do with the distance that you can depress the keys, the distance that the hammer goes up and hits the string. The hammer pulls away at the very last moment. When it comes up, it's about to hit the string, and that's when you lose contact via the key, and it flies up to the string on its momentum, and that's a very specific distance that it's supposed to be regulated, all of that. So this touch, I would say, I would in fact be very confident in saying that the touch hasn't been so precise on this piano since it was manufactured in 1936. And of course, brought it up to pitch and tuned it. Anyway, this is a massive, massive project. If I were to do this retail for somebody's piano, it would be several $1,000s, not 10,000, but it would be lots of thousands. I mean, it varies from piano to piano. I do that sort of thing lots for people, and it would be a several $1,000s project to do everything. Okay, so let's hear it. That sounds pretty darn good. That piano sounds great. I hope it comes through in the video. I am so happy. I never know how exactly a piano is. I have clues. You know, I've worked on 15,000 pianos in my career, so I have clues, but I never really know for sure how a piano is going to sound. Certain things that I can do to manipulate, but there are certain things that are out of my control, at least within, you know, reasonable practical range. So I never know exactly what's going to happen. Anyway, and this piano, I couldn't be more proud, couldn't be happier with how it turns out. I would defy anyone to find a piano, particularly 80 years old, that sounds so good and plays so well. I'm just overjoyed with this piano.